Youngsman with the Lansing Journal, and as you know, we are Lansing's only newspaper. We're in the business of keeping people informed and connected, and we understand that people are curious about what's going on in Park Plaza. So today we're going right to the source. We are here with Cameron. Cameron, what's your last name?
Jones.
Cameron Jones, who's the foreman of, which crew is this, Cameron?
This is American Ramp Company, Pivot Custom Designs and American Ramp Company.
All right, and what's your specific part of the project?
I'm the crew foreman. I'm the crew chief. I oversee the project from beginning to end, and I'm responsible for our crew and the completion of the project and the satisfaction of the city. So it's all me.
Satisfaction of the city. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Now, you were telling me that everyone on your crew is not just a construction guy, they're also skaters.
Absolutely.
Skateboarders.
Yeah, we find that for the best product and the best quality, hiring skateboarders is the only way to go. We also have people that ride BMX that work with us. We have a couple of people here and there that are into other extreme sports, maybe rollerblading, maybe scootering, that kind of thing, but mostly it's skateboarders. We try to keep it skateboarder related.
So what is it that a skateboarder brings to a project like this? Why can't you just be a construction guy?
Well, you could, but to build something, if you understand what you're building, generally the product turns out a lot better. The quality goes up, and when you skateboard, you care about what you're doing, and so when you're building something like this, inherently, it's just going to go well because you want it to turn out well. I started construction in 2008 under a bridge in St. Louis, Missouri, illegally constructing a skate park because there was no skate park in St. Louis. We went to form a 501c3 after that. That became the Kings Highway Vigilante Transitions Group. After the bridge was torn down because it was getting old, the city of St. Louis gave us our own piece of property on Morgan Ford Street in Southside St. Louis, and we built another skate park from beginning to end. That precipitated into a lifelong career in construction and skateboarding.
Wow. That kind of brings up the question, have you ever run into like pushback from communities who think that skate parks might attract a bad element?
We have. Everybody's different, and all over the country, everybody has a different idea about skateboarding. Since it's been inducted into the Olympics, I think people have really started to come around a lot more and realize the value that it gives to the community. We call it a third space. It's a space away from school and away from home that you can go to relax, to decompress, and to have something positive to do instead of getting into trouble. It's athletic, it's creative, it's artistic, it's saved many of our lives, so to speak, and that's why we do it, because we want to give back, and hopefully that's the same for everybody in this community. It's a nice place to come, use, stay away from trouble.
You guys go around the country and build skate parks.
Absolutely.
It's not just you're from St. Louis?
The head office is based in Joplin, Missouri.
Okay.
For American Ramp Company. We live in St. Louis, but I live in North Carolina now, but we're from all over, and yeah, it just never stops. There's such a big demand now for skate parks all around the country that we're pretty much always working, always traveling. We just came from New York. We did 2 in Arizona earlier this year, back to back in the Phoenix area. We may be heading to Arkansas next, I'm not sure, but it's nonstop.
So is skateboarding like in right now, or has there been a steady
Very much
demand?
so. There has been a very large upswing in the last 5 years. It has really taken off. There's no end in sight right now for as much work as we have.
Okay.
We're booked out for a few years.
Wow. So can we talk about specifically Lansing's park?
Absolutely.
Is this a big project? Is this a medium project?
This is a medium project. They definitely get smaller than this, and they definitely get bigger than this. This is a really nice design. This incorporates kind of both sides of skateboarding. There's a street element, and then there's a transitional vertical element. And this park has plenty of both. And I really enjoy this design a lot. I think people are going to benefit from it, and as far as skill level is concerned, there's nothing here that is too dangerous or too technical or too difficult. It's a really good place for kids to start and for seasoned people to just come and have some fun.
So could you give us a little tour of some, I can see like some elements.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me there's not concrete yet. But
no, not quite yet.
The elements are defined by
the formwork
frames.
Yes, absolutely. First concrete is tomorrow morning, and we will have some obstacles done, and we have concrete scheduled for the next 2 weeks. So in about 3 weeks, we should be completely done, if everything goes well. But yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
Take a tour. The actual position they'll be in?
Yeah, this is it.
Okay.
This is the design. This is the layout. There's a few elements that we haven't added yet, but you know.
What are all the names of these?
So these are ledges. These are street elements in skateboarding. They're here to simulate regular street architecture. Street skateboarding began on the streets when people didn't have skate parks to go to, and it's such an integral part of skateboarding that now that we construct skate parks, we add those elements in to simulate exactly what we used to do, but in a legal aspect. You know, people don't, it's illegal in many places to go skateboarding, especially because it's destruction of public property, and it's dangerous. It inherently has a lot of liability. So we take those elements and we put them into our skate parks instead. Some of them have little extra features like this rail up top here. Some of them are angled up and down with other features to come built off of them. That is going to be a pyramid with a handrail that goes across it about waist high. It'll have a hip that is just two banks that meet at a point together. It's an obstacle in itself, but this is the first stage in that. We have to pour that first to be able to frame the rest of it. So everything has an order of operations essentially. These quarter pipes are to simulate swimming pools. In the late 60s, early 70s, people started to figure out that you could skateboard in an empty swimming pool. It also inherently was destruction of private property and inherently very dangerous. But the transition, the radius walls were what was enticing to everybody. So what we do is we do the same thing. We build those radius walls in juxtaposition to other obstacles, and we create a flow.
So do you know if there's a skateboard community here in Lansing that gives the Park District ideas?
We do. So we have met a couple of local guys around here, and I'm not sure exactly where, but they have their own project going on, just like we did back in St. Louis. We call it a DIY, a do-it-yourself, and we always encourage anybody that wants to skateboard to do DIY until they can have a sanctioned skate park like this. Sometimes it's tricky because it's hard to find places that are allowed to do it. You have to hide sometimes. It gets dicey, but what we found is that there's a heavy skateboard presence in Lansing, and that people are very excited, so much so that they've already taken it upon themselves to start building things themselves. We're just adding to that. We're just helping them out and trying to give them a little bit more. Scooters, BMXs, skateboards, bicycles, I think they'll all be quite welcome here. I've been doing this for almost 13 years, and I can't tell you how many lives I've seen it change, from having nowhere and nothing to coming back to a community a couple years later after installing a park and just watching people thrive and just absolutely enjoy themselves and then progress. And for some people that takes them places. For other people, it's just something to keep them away. I'm not the best skateboarder in the world, but I'd never stop, and it's because early on, I was able to have something like this. I grew up in Tampa. All I had was a place that I had to pay to go to skate when I was a kid. And as I got older and older, they finally started adding in skate parks, and it just became more and more accessible for me. It was free, it was open, it was public, and it kept me out of trouble. So that's what we're hoping to do here, and that's all we want, is just for people to skateboard.
So when you talk about changing lives, you're saying, is it because of that skateboard community that comes around a person and
It is.
sees value and...
So the community is very, very strong, and it definitely gives you camaraderie. The other thing that it does is it gives you drive, because skateboarding is difficult, and you don't get anywhere by not practicing. You have to practice to get good. Oftentimes when you start skateboarding, you begin to really, really want to become better. It's the natural progression of things, and that creates discipline. Discipline means being here every day, practicing those tricks, falling down, getting back up and doing it again, and it's one of the best things about this.
I learned something today. Thank you so much, Cameron.
Thank you very, very much.
Tell us about the timeline. When can we start skating?
Well, we should be out of here in about 3.5 to 4 weeks. After that, it's going to be up to the city. I'm not too sure of what the landscaping is going to look like after that. We're not responsible for any of that, so the timeline for the opening is tentative.
That's exciting. Thank you so much for spending time with the Lansing Journal and for the community building work that you're doing here at the skate park.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it too.